everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is 101 Festival Essentials. So I've wanted to do this video for a while. It's Download Festival this weekend. I'm absolutely devastated I'm not there. I'm so jealous. I hope everyone who went had a fabulous time. And the weather held up for everyone. Anyone who's been to Download watching this video knows that the weather doesn't hold up for people at Download. It's normally an absolute disaster. So I am so happy the weather's holding up for everyone who's there, but I'm dead jealous I'm not there. So I thought, why not do a Festival 101 Essentials video? So this is for everyone. This is things that'll make your life easier, that you 100% need. It's not a case of like, oh, do I need that? Do I not need that? You need these. And the things, some of the things I'm going to tell you, you probably haven't heard of in other videos, because I have been doing festivals since I was 16. Oh my God, that's 15 years ago. I feel ill. But 16, and I have picked up so many different tips over the years, and some of them I've not seen people mention. So we're going to get into it. I am going to be showing you certain things on my phone. I'm not very good at putting like pop-up screens in videos and stuff. I'm still not at that level with my YouTube videos, but I'll just bring it so you can see it like this to the screen. So we're gonna just get straight into the video. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and let's just get into it. So I'm gonna do this in sections in the hope that it makes it a lot easier for you. So the first thing I want to talk about is getting your stuff to the festival. So before you even leave your house, the first thing you need to do, if you are taking any form of spirit with you, swap it from the glass bottle to a plastic bottle. Don't be swapping it into crappy bottles. Always try and make sure it's a decent bottle, like this Evian bottle, not like the Costco bottles or really cheap water bottles. Always make sure that it's a decent bottle. Good ones are things like sports cat bottles from like Lucasade and stuff. But if you want a big Diet Pepsi, a big Fanta bottle, something like that big Coke bottle, they're really good lids. What I also do say to do with your lids is sellotape around and then sellotape over. This will just make sure that if it does maybe have a moment where it's gonna leak, the sellotape will keep it in place. So always make sure you do that. And then when you're packing them, make sure you put them in their own little like bin bag. Don't like just throw them all in with your stuff. But just make sure you don't take glass in with you. You're not allowed. If they hear a clink, they'll start unpacking all your stuff. Which one thing that bugs me at festivals, and I don't think it's very fair, is the way they pull. I've had my stuff pulled out before, and I mean the whole lot pulled out years and years ago. And ever since then, I don't take drugs. I don't do anything illegal. I just want to go to the festival. One time it was Glastonbury and we got pulled. It was me, my mate and another friend. All got pulled. They were ready to pull all our stuff out. And I said, no. I went, you pull all that out. I was like, you can carry it to the site for me because I've packed it so everything fits. That's the most infuriating part, I think, when you've packed everything and then you get that one anal worker who's literally gone the festival just for free tickets, who wants to pull all your stuff out when they know fine well you've packed it to a T. So always make sure you make minimal, just make it less likely that you're going to get pulled, and don't put stuff in glass bottles. You're not allowed glass bottles, so just make sure you put it in a plastic one. Next up, you've got to get your stuff. So we've got to start packing. We've got to start packing our stuff, and what you're going to pack it into is really important. So some people like to do the hold-alls on the back. I don't personally like those because when they're so heavy, you've got to try and get it on and get it up. It's not for me. I've done a hold-all, which is a side bag, once before, my second year at a festival. Never ever again. And I will get to other things that you don't need later on, because I packed everything but the kitchen sink that year and I could barely, I was dragging the bag. My dad even said to me, you're not going to be able to carry it. And I was like, I can hold it. And he was like, Georgie, you can't. He was like, you can't pull that. My dad was in the army for 22 years, so he was looking at me like I had 10 heads. And he said, that's fine. You need to learn this lesson on your own. And boy, did I learn that lesson. So how you pack your stuff is really important. And for me, the best items you can have, something like this. So they're the best trolleys to take. It's got good sturdy wheels. The wheels are really important on a trolley. You can get a trolley, that's great. But if it's got really crap wheels, you've got no chance. Someone told me they're robbing an IKEA trolley the other day. And I was like, that isn't gonna work. I was like, an IKEA trolley is not gonna work at Glastonbury. But leave them to it. He didn't want to listen to me. I was like, why not just split one of them between you and your mates? Well, that one is £71. So they come in really handy, and you can get your stuff pretty much in one go to the campsite. But if you can't afford one of those, then there's also these. So these are £21.99. You buy cling film and you just wrap it out. Once you get to the festival, you pack everything on top and you cling film. These are all good if you are driving. The hardest one to do is when you're getting a coach. Not so much the train because you hold on to your own stuff, but with a coach, it goes underneath the coach and everything gets piled on top. And I did have one of these. So I've always had one of these. Well, I've had two of these. I carry one in each hand. One's for clothes and stuff like that. The other one is like ale, tent, all like livable stuff. But these are also really good. Just try and make sure you get good wheels because they do not tend to come with good wheels. And that's where your issues lie. It's always the wheels. So a good trolley with good wheels is the answer to everything. However, when I was on a coach, when I got this back, because of all the weight they put on top of it, all the back poles were bent. And don't get me wrong, I could still pull it, but I was lucky that I could still pull it and I was livid. So ever since then, I've always kind of learned I'm never going to get a coach down to Glastonbury or to any festival. If I can avoid it, I'd rather just drive because your stuff ends up wrecked. So 100% you need a decent trolley. Personally, these ones are the best. They are the best type of trolley. Like, you can see how good them wheels are. They're gonna support the ground so much better than a flimsy shopping trolley. So yeah, trolley. Don't take a wheelbarrow. Like, I just don't understand people who take a wheelbarrow. One, the amount of diesel you're using or petrol in your car with the weight of the wheelbarrow is stupid. And plus, it doesn't actually fit that much in. Loads of people I see, all the stuff's falling off the wheelbarrow. Just get yourself a trolley. Just make your life easier, just get yourself a trolley. So moving from trolley to packing what's in your trolley. Big tip, put your clothes in bin bags. So put all your clothes in a bin bag, tie it up, put a teeny hole in so you can get the air out, and then do another bin bag with a teeny hole in to get the air out, and then pack them in. Do not put your clothes in before you've bagged them, because if it rains when you're in the queue, your clothes are wringing wet. Always make sure you bag your things, otherwise your clothes will be wringing if it rains in the queue. One essential that I take that no one else seems to know about, it was one that me and my mate came across, gloves. And when I'm talking gloves, I don't mean like winter warmer gloves, I mean bar lifting gloves. And the reason why you want bar lifting gloves is they're gonna help you pull your stuff. So if you're a delicate girl like myself who has no calluses, and when I did pole fitness could never quite build calluses, they would just tear all the time. So I know my hands well enough that if I'm pulling something or doing pole fitness, my hands were destroyed. But the good thing about bar lifting gloves, these type of ones, is they stop the friction on your hands. Now, when you're doing somewhere like Download or Leeds or Reading, the campsite isn't that far from the car. It really isn't. But Glastonbury's is miles, so most people want to do it in one big run. Take the bar lifting gloves. I promise you, it'll make pulling everything so much easier and you'll be able to actually pull it all. So we packed everything in the car, we're on our way and we're going. So we've got there, we pulled all our stuff because we got our bar lifting gloves, and now we're ready to set up camp. Obviously, I kind of don't want to say you need a tent, but you obviously need a tent. Now, with that comes the right tent. So one thing's for certain, do not buy a tent that is the same size as the amount of people getting in it. So if there's 2 of you, don't buy a 2-man tent, buy a 4-man tent. If there's 3 of you, buy a 6. If there's 4 of you, buy an 8. And the reason why I say double up is because you've not got to just get the 4 of yous in it, you've got to get all your stuff in there as well. You've got to find somewhere to put it all. So always make sure you double up your size, otherwise you're gonna have nowhere to put any. And the first year I went to a festival, we had 3 of us in a 4-man tent, and we had the double air bed plus a single air bed, and then all the bags lining the sides and the bottom. We couldn't move, we couldn't stand up, we couldn't get off. We were rolling around trying to get changed. Plus it was a heat wave, so you can imagine trying to get ready in a tent anyway in a heat wave. So honestly, make sure it's a good high tent, because if you can't stand up, believe it or not, it's such an inconvenience. Like, it sounds stupid, but a tent that you can stand up in is the answer to everything, because you just want to get changed or whatever. It's so much easier. So a tent that's good size for you so that are getting in it, and also high enough as well. With that, double skin. Make sure it's a double skin tent. Don't be buying none of this single layer tent stuff. Most single layer tents that are good are ridiculously expensive and are made for people who go like mountaineering and camping and hiking. So they are very, very expensive, and they are very, very small. So I don't recommend getting one of those, even though they are really strong and really sturdy. You need to get a double layered tent, because if any of you have ever rolled over in a tent in a single skin, you'll know about it, because you literally will be wet from, you'll just be wringing wet. It falls through the ceiling, it touches, once it touches anything, everything's just wringing wet, whether it rains or it's condensation. Just promise me you'll get a double layer tent. Obviously, once you've set up your tent, you're ready to pack everything in, just make sure you've got spare guy ropes and spare tent poles. Now, you probably won't even use your spare tent pole, but having a spare tent pole has got to be one thing I will recommend to get. I went to Glastonbury one year, we had a tent with all the poles, it was perfectly fine. We got to the campsite, and like I said, it was the same one when we got the coach. One of the tent poles had completely snapped. Completely snapped. It weren't snapped when we practiced putting it up, but it was completely snapped by the time we got there, and I'm adamant it was all the weight that went on top of the tent. So always make sure you carry spare tent poles. Luckily enough, my cousin had a spare tent pole and we could lend hers, but always make sure you got spare tent poles, guy ropes and tent pegs. You will need them, or someone within your vicinity will need them. Once you're in your tent, I highly recommend an airbed. I'm 30, I am not getting on the floor. I've done one festival without an airbed and it was hell on earth. And I could not say enough, don't do it. Just don't do it. Take the friggin' airbed. You're only getting 4 hours max sleep anyway. So if you're gonna only get 4 hours, let's make sure it's a good 4 hours, because on the floor, it's just not worth it. It isn't worth it. Once you're over the age of 20, that floor, whether you like it or not, is giving you a bad back, and it starts to inconvenience the rest of the festival. So always make sure you've got the airbed. With the airbed, put something underneath it. So the air within an airbed gets really, really cold, especially when it's on the ground. I would say take a picnic blanket if it's like, this is a blanket, but a picnic blanket would be better because it's got that little thermally layer between it. Taking that and putting it underneath the airbed makes the air get less cold. Or if it's a single bed, maybe take like a yoga mat or something like that you can just fold out, put the airbed on top, and it'll stop the air in the airbed getting as cold. What I also take is a bed sheet. Some people might be thinking, Jesus Christ, is she like a princess? But yeah, I act like a princess when I'm there because it makes my life comfier. I take a bed sheet. If you are someone who struggles being cold, and you could be at home and it could be 17, 18, 19 degrees outside, but you'll be sitting in the house going, I'm cold, you are going to find that airbed cold at a festival. So it doesn't matter if it's a heat wave in the UK, it's freezing of a night, absolutely freezing. It's the same if you went to like a festival like Coachella, it gets cold in the night because it's all open air. So always make sure you've got a sheet on your airbed. But if you do really struggle with the cold, I do recommend getting maybe like a fluffy one. Do you know, like one of them thermally ones? If you've got one at home, just take it with you. Fold it up, it's not heavy, so just fold it up and take it with you. Also, a quilt or a sleeping bag is obviously a must. It's kind of self-explanatory, but a good quality one. So I actually prefer to take a quilt. I'm not a giant fan of sleeping bags. I don't like that feeling trapped. So my sleeping bag is actually a double sleeping bag, and it's like, imagine having a quilt that folds over and zips up, but it's a double size. So mine is already like a quilt. I've never seen one like it since I got it as a child when I used to go camping. But if I didn't have that, I would just take a quilt. Or my mate went to the download pilot last year and she pre-booked the quilt, a pillow. I'm sure she pre-booked an airbed as well to purchase. Purchased it all before she got there, and then she just had to go to the shop, pick it all up, and it was done. So you can also buy stuff when you're there, remember, and you can pre-book certain things. So if you can do that and you don't want to carry it, highly recommend doing that as well. Obviously it'd be a little bit more expensive, but it's easier than carrying it. Then Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. So definitely recommend a good sleeping bag with a high tog. A pillow is another must. Don't forget your pillow. Always make sure as well, if you're going to take your own pillow, make sure you put it in a bin bag. Put it in a bin bag. Make sure anything that you use goes in bin bags to protect the product so it doesn't get wet, because no fun in a wet pillow when you get there. So yeah, fully recommend the airbed, putting something underneath the airbed, a bed sheet, a quilt and a pillow. Just make your life easier, and I promise you, you'll enjoy it so much more. Another thing that I don't think enough people mention in their festival essentials is take either a hoodie or a hat for going to bed. Always make sure your head is covered. Most of your body heat is lost through your head. So if you don't have them two items for the night time, I promise you, it'll be cold. One year I'd forgot mine and didn't bring a hoodie, and my mate didn't bring a hoodie, and then I didn't have a hat. So we went straight to a stand and I bought a Bring Me the Horizon hoodie. and I've still got it. It's actually, I wear it in quite a lot of videos, to be honest. It's one of my favourite hoodies, and it had the biggest hood because it was absolutely freezing of a night, and we couldn't, I don't know why the both of us forgot hoodies. I don't know what happened that year, but we forgot them, and we forgot our hats. And honestly, if you don't have your head covered of a night, doesn't matter what you do, you're still frigging cold. So always make sure you've got a good hoodie or a hat, and thermal bed socks. Good socks in general are a must. Do not take crappy socks. You've got to make sure you've got 1, lots of socks because they're the most likely thing to get wet. 2, comfy socks that actually don't roll down, they stay up. Just make sure you've got good socks, and bedtime socks because your feet get freezing. So always make sure you've got a plethora of socks. Just promise you need them. Another thing is good bed clothing. So obviously you can take your pajamas, but I recommend layering up. So take your pajamas. I've actually wore tights in the day, got back to the tent of a night, not took my tights off and put my pajamas on top. The only issue is you do end up with girls with a lot of spots on the back of your thighs because the tights obviously on the grass and everything, they just trap a lot of dirt in the back of your leg. So I did notice that when I done that, but it did help that year because it was absolutely freezing wherever I was. I can't remember what festival that was. But good bed clothes, a good hoodie, making sure you've got like a t-shirt, because as well it could be really, really warm. Always make sure you've just got, you can always take your clothes off obviously, but just always make sure you've got your like a t-shirt and shorts as well. It'll just help you. Next up, I want to talk about your valuables. So valuables are obviously, you only need a phone, keys and money. That is all you need for a festival. If you can go to a festival without your phone, I highly recommend Glastonbury one year with a crappy Nokia phone in case I lost my mate. That was all it was for. And it was absolutely glorious disconnecting from the world, and that was like 2015. It was absolutely lovely disconnecting from the world and just enjoying it for what it was. But if you are someone who just thinks, no, I'm just going to take my phone, always make sure you sleep with your valuables. Always sleep with your valuables. Don't be like putting your bag down in your tent, because when you are asleep, people do get in people's tents. It's happened to me before. Someone's unzipped my door. I have absolutely bricked it. And I've been like, what are you doing? And they were like, oh, sorry. And they were innocent. They literally thought it was their tent. And they were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, so sorry. And it is the worst thing. It's the worst feeling ever is when you just see this person coming in your tent. But some people do rob people. So I always say, sleep with your valuables, have a bum bag around your waist or a little pouch or something, just sleep with them, or just have them in the sleeping bag with you. Just make sure you sleep with your valuables. That's like, I don't know, I feel like everyone knew that one when we went, but I don't see anyone mentioning it on videos. So always sleep with your valuables. Another thing is, if you are going to take a phone, always make sure you've got decent power packs. If you haven't got a decent power pack, it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. So you can get multiple different power packs with different length times. I know some people take the ones that are like one charge thingy, but I don't see the point in that. I would rather take one that is like a high charge one that does like maybe 5 or 6 charges, and I'll take maybe 2 cheap ass ones, because I just think you're wasting your time. I took 5 of them cheap ones once and only 2 worked. So it's pointless. But one of the really good charge packs, you can get them on like Amazon, you can get them in like the Asda and everything. But they are definitely a must if you're going to take a phone. There's no point in taking your phone if you've got no way of charging it. But yeah, that's another thing. Also, there is lockers at festivals. I've never used them, but you can get a locker. For your valuables is a decent bag. Now, I've got a waterproof bum bag that I took to Vegas. I've mentioned it in a previous video before, but a waterproof backpack is probably one of the most important things. You need to make sure they're protected even when you're not in your tent. So when you're out and about at the festival, you need to make sure you've got a good bag for them. Make sure it's waterproof, or put your stuff in like a food pouch or in like any pouch that you can fit in that bag, because I had at the time, it was the camera of the time. It was a Samsung, it was double screens. I didn't even have selfie mode on my phone at the time when I got that, and it was unreal. I went to a festival one year and it rained and all the water seeped through the zip of my backpack and broke the camera. So I can't recommend enough to say, get a waterproof backpack or bum bag or handbag, whatever it is. There's absolutely hundreds of backpacks, but you can get things like this. So these are like swim secure bum bags. They're amazing. You can get them in any colour, black, orange, see-through. Like that one is from a really cheap website. They do have them on Shein. Obviously you're not getting into water, so it doesn't have to be a stupidly expensive one. It just needs to be good enough to protect your stuff, because you're not submerging into water. It's just when the rain is there. So I can't recommend enough a waterproof bag. Like, you need it. So the next section I'll talk about is just general like life stuff that you need and you just forget you need them. And first up has got to be a camping light. You need a camping light. If you don't have a lamp or a torch, trust me, your life is made harder at night time, because you can't find nothing and you're trying to get in your tent and you're like, you need your camping light. So this one is a rechargeable one off Amazon. So obviously rechargeable means that you need to have another power pack, but if you don't want to take another power pack, you can get battery powered ones and just refill them. Next up, and you can get these at the festival if you choose not to get one before you go, is a camping chair. A camping chair is pretty much essential. There's nothing worse than not having one sitting around the campsite with no chair. Like, you can get them in the Home and Bargain. I wouldn't say get them on Amazon because they're always well more expensive. Get it from the likes of B&M, the Home and Bargain, and take your camping chair. And also take it to the arena, because when you're sitting watching them bands, it's so much more relaxing than standing all day or sitting on the grass. Just get your camping chair out, sit at the back, have a good time. If you want to go forwards and go in the mosh pits or whatever it is that you want to do, knock yourself out, but you will find me further back. Now that I'm 30, I cannot be arsed. I am one of them people who sits there with me drink in my hand. If you're going to a festival, a quick one by the way, slushies in the arena with gin, sheer perfection. Sitting on my camping chair with my slushy cup, amazing, just amazing. And there's something so relaxing about sitting on a camping chair. I don't know what it is, but 100% either take a camping chair, pre-book one and buy one there, or just get one there. You always can get a camping chair there. One thing I couldn't stress enough to take, plasters. You're gonna need your plasters, because with that comes me saying you need a decent pair of wellies or walking boots. Now, I see a lot of people wearing Doc Martens. Doc Martens are a good boot to take with you. I don't take Doc Martens because, for me, I don't find Doc Martens all that comfortable later on if I've had them on for hours. So I always think like, oh, it'll go with my outfit, but it's practicality over the fashion. Sometimes I'd rather just be comfortable. So I always take really nice walking boots. Black walking boots are my favourite. I just think they're so comfy. And I always take, obviously, like I said, good socks. But you do always need a plaster at some point. Plasters are like a must. With plasters, you need to make sure you've got your paracetamol, your ibuprofen, any medication obviously that you need personal, like an inhaler, contraceptive pill, anything like that. Always make sure you've got all that. But the bog standard stuff, I'd say, is paracetamol, ibuprofen, plasters, Imodium, Diorolite, whichever one, and also maybe like a fibre sachet, because depending on the end of the spectrum of toilet going you are on, both can be horrific. If you're at a festival and obviously can't stop going the loo, it's just going to ruin your whole experience. And if you're somebody who literally hasn't gone for days, you're going to be in a lot of pain. So always make sure you've got the two of them. I've been in the situation where I haven't been able to go, and it's been painful, like so painful, and it didn't matter what I took, it weren't working. But the other end, thank God, touch hairy wood, because anything else normally happens to me. That has not happened to me. But always make sure you've got those. With that being said, I want to talk about food, because food is obviously a massive part of people's expense when they're at a festival. It's not cheap to pay for food at a festival. It's so expensive. If you are someone who's going to take food, do not listen to these people who take, say, tins of spaghetti and soup. Tins are heavy. Tins are heavy, so you've got to carry them. Just take dry food. Take things like pot noodles, cocoa noodles, packets of pasta sauce, bachelor's pastas and sauces. Also, another one which is good, but you've got to make sure you pack it right, otherwise everything is going to be ruined, is like them tuna pasta on the go meals. You can get that, don't require being in a fridge or anything. They're also really good, really light. However, make sure you put them in boxes. Put them in the cool box or something. A cool box is a great idea as well, just while I'm on that subject. A cool box is an amazing idea. However, I find with a cool box, people seem to get robbed all the time when they've got a cool box, because people know exactly where all the aisle is. So I personally don't really take a cool box. I just have cool bags that I'll take with me, and then I'll scatter me stuff around my tent. I don't like put it all in one area. I've had aisle robbed loads of times at a festival, and one, I just think you saddos, like you absolute scruffs, why have you robbed me ale? And two, it's annoying because if you're someone who drinks vodka or gin or rum or anything like that, if you're not a beer or cider drinker, you're kind of screwed once your ale's gone. So I would definitely say avoid putting your spirit in the cool box and hide it. Just hide it around your tent, because there will be people who will rob out of your cool box. I know people who've had their cool box robbed. So, you know, can't win, but always try and make sure your actual spirit, put your Fanta or whatever. I don't take mixers with me because I only like ice cold drinks, so I end up buying my mixer when I'm there. I put my money away, I save up to make sure I've got mixer. I'd rather go buy it from an ice cream van. And don't get me wrong, I've taken orange juice and stuff because I'm okay with that, but also orange juice and cranberry juice and stuff is really good to have. Again, like I said, if you struggle going the loo, just helps you keep you flowing. You need to make sure you've got fibre in your diet, because you're eating so much crap and you're eating and drinking tons of ale. Just make sure you've got a bit of fibre. Take some Fibre One bars, take some protein bars, just take stuff that, some dry fruit, nuts. Those are the sort of things that are going to really help you when you're there. My friend, however, is a genius. One food item which I definitely take now every year is Primula squirty cheese and crackers. One year she took them and I was just like, that is going to be vile. And she was like, it's not, I've tried it. And I was like, okay. We got in late one night and we were bladdered. And she whipped out the Primula and crackers. Perfect midnight snack before we were trying to get to sleep. Amazing. So trying to make sure you got the right food. Obviously crisps and stuff like that, take all that, but just make sure you got a little bit of fibre in your diet, because honestly, it just makes your life a little bit easier. This is for you. Boys, you have your own shiwi. Get yourself a shiwi. None of this, oh, I don't want to use. Get yourself a shiwi. It's non-negotiable. I even have a spare shiwi in my car in case I'm ever stuck in traffic. I've always had this big fear of being stuck in a motorway accident and it's just backlogged and me needing a wee. I always have 3 empty bottles in me well of my car in the passenger side, and I have the shiwi in the glove compartment. So a shiwi has got to be one of the best things ever. It's so much more sanitary. If you're small as well. My mate struggles with portaloos and long drops. She can't get the angle on it. So she's the type of person that has to climb on top of the long drop or portaloo, squat to have a wee, and then get off. So to make your life easier, take a shiwi. Honestly, it's the cleanest, it's the easiest way of going for a wee, and it also helps in the night time. So if you're going to have a shiwi, you can always just take a bottle in with you and wee into the bottle. Obviously, really easy in the night time. What me and my mate normally tend to also do though is we take a really small tent, it's like a 2-man tent that has a bucket in and like Dettol wipes and toilet roll, and that's our pee tent. We have a pee tent. Obviously in the middle of the night, if you can't be arsed, just get your shiwi and wee in a bottle. But I personally prefer to go to the pee tent. It's also beneficial to do if you're someone who struggles to go the loo. Obviously take your own little toilet, whatever way you need to do a toilet. Take an actual camping toilet, take bin bags and tie them up and bin them. I honestly don't care. Like, when you gotta go, you gotta go, and I've got no judgment at a festival, especially if you're somebody who struggles to go the loo. So yeah, fully understand if you don't want to do long drops and portaloos for your, yeah. A little pee tent is a must. Another thing I take is baby wipes, but alongside baby wipes, I also take a small bottle of Femfresh. If you're a man, obviously take whatever shower gel you want to take, but I take a small bottle of Femfresh and I use it to actually wash. I go and get boiling water off a van. I'll pay the money if they want £1 for a cup of boiling water. Fine, I'll do a cup of boiling water, a cup of cool water from the water pipe or whatever it's called, and I'll make my own little flannel and I will wash. I actually wash. Now in Download, they have actual showers. I don't know about Leeds and Reading. I can't remember. I don't think they do. Also, with that being said, paying for a toilet pass and a shower pass is one of the best things ever. So Downloads have portable, Downloads have communal showers, which there's never a queue for, ever. The queue was bigger for the private showers when I paid for the ticket. My mate actually bought me that one year for a Christmas present. It was like the best thing ever. Always, if you can, pay for it. Honestly, it's so nice when you get in a shower in the morning. You just feel so much fresher. But if you can't afford to pay for it, and if you're not comfortable doing the communals, just take one of Cosy or swimming trunks. But if you do forget, then a little bottle of shower gel. Makeshift shower with a flannel. Feels a bit better than just using baby wipes, because using baby wipes 5 days, my skin can't take it. My skin's in agony, so I do try and get a shower at any festival I go to if I can, which does mean you need to take a towel. I don't just say take a towel because of the showers, I say take a towel full stop. The reason why is if it rains and you're wet, you don't want to get into your jammies wet and get into your quilt wet. You want to dry off. So always make sure you've got a towel no matter what. It's good if you've got long hair. If it doesn't dry quick, you can get it in the towel, keep it confined inside the towel to let it dry overnight. That's the other issue with festivals. Once you're wet, you're wet. Like everything's wet. So always take ponchos or a waterproof coat. You're always wet. So with that, again, this is where it all just feeds on from one another. Take a waterproof coat. Take ponchos if you want. I just don't see the point in ponchos. I actually hate them. I feel like they're horrible. The noise, the wind. I'd rather take a raincoat. I just take a proper raincoat that's to my knees. It means that if I need to sit on anything that's wet, it's fine. The raincoat's there. Best thing in the world is a raincoat. So I think that's pretty much everything. And like 101 essentials. I will do like a beauty hair sort of essentials that I think you need at festivals soon. But I do think they're like the 101 essentials for a festival. Sun cream. You need to take your sun cream. It's like the amount of people who don't wear sun cream in a festival, once you're burnt for 5 days in a campsite, in a tent. I don't know any of you do it because I couldn't think of anything worse. So SPF is a must. Everything down below with the links. I'll just put links to stuff so it just refreshes your mind. And I might do a little like, I don't know how to make documents on Google. That would have been quite a good one. A little checklist. But yeah, I think I've pretty much covered everything for this video. So I hope you liked the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.